Just going to do a fast recap here of UFN 16. Got home a little late, so I missed the first two fights. But I got here in time to see Steve Cantwell defeat Razak. And that was a pretty cool fight. That armbar was just gruesome. And I can't believe Razak didn't tap. That's amazing. That guy has some fortitude. Maybe a little stupid, but he has some fortitude. The weirdest part was afterwards, Cantwell was saying he always wanted to do that in his life. He always wanted to break a guy's arm via armbar. That's a weird fantasy. But anyway, that was a good fight. Good win for Cantwell. Guess we'll see Razak in a year or two. Then we got, let's see, Mike Swig defeated Jonathan Goulet. I thought this. I picked Mike Swig to finish him with KO because I knew Goulet has a weak chin, and Swig actually came out with something to prove this time around and wants to make people know that he's here to stay at welterweight and he's going to be a force. And you know, you hear the excuses for bad cut the first time, or hurt his arm against going in to fight Marcus Davis, but maybe they were reasons and not excuses. So maybe he'll excel from now on and just be dominating like that, because that was real good KO, relentless, came in, just kept on hammering away until Goulet couldn't answer anymore. Goulet was doing pretty much just trying to defend himself. And then they showed an earlier fight. Ben Saunders defeated Brandon Wolf. That was a vicious fight because Ben just got that. He worked some good leg kicks, left leg. The guy was covered up, but they were still landing. They were still hitting on the side of his head. Then he just got that, the tie clinch. Just started just marching into the guy with knees. Just one after another, knee. It was just crazy. He was just marching into him with knees. And it just lasted for the longest way, just going that way where he would release to do different angles on knees or more kicks, then re-clinch and start landing more marching knees. And finally, where Wolf was on the ground and just taking much more knees, and the ref stopped it. Or he wasn't on the ground, he was crouched over. So that was pretty impressive. And then they showed Wolf, they showed his head, and they had a huge bump up here. I mean, he looked like, I don't know, he looked like his head hurt. That's crazy. Just like his head was like that before. Like, that's how his head's supposed to look. Because it was so broad of a bump. It just took over his whole forehead. Just creepy as hell. Let's see. Then they showed. Then it was time for the main event. Josh Koscheck versus Yoshiki Yoshida. And wow, that was a good fight. It started off a little hesitant. People, they were picking their shots, but Koscheck just hit that one right hand, and Rogan pointed it out. Standing up, you could see that Yoshida was like in a KO state. He just wasn't reacting. He's just standing up. I mean, his body just told him to stand up. I think there was a match like that with Mikey Burnett versus some guy in the early UFCs where he had a standing KO where this guy was just, his eyes were all scattered and everything, and he could barely walk, but he was standing, and he was KO'd. Well, Yoshida didn't stay standing for long, as all Koscheck did was reload that right and come back with an even bigger overhand right to just put him down. Vicious stuff. Koscheck, I mean, usually I was thinking this may be one of a boring fight of the night, inks out the decision, but it seems like everyone put on the show, considering it was for the troops. And the UFC really handled that nicely with they had little segments with certain injured soldiers, and I mean, it was a real good cause, and it was real tasteful. I liked it a lot. Then they had some time left, and I was hoping they'd show the Dale Hart versus Corey Hill fight, because I was interested in how Corey Hill lost that with TKO leg injury, as it's listed here. Got that wrong. But they didn't show that. They showed instead Steve Bruno versus Johnny Reese. And that fight was kind of clunky and boring. And at one point, the guys were in like a 69 position. It was just really awful and just amateurish. And then also the ref was kind of bad too. He has a real thick southern accent. And he was like calling out things like fight, or somebody, let me see some action, it's just really weird. And Rogan was getting real pissed and stuff. And I mean, I can see both sides of the story there, because they weren't doing that much. But then again, you don't want to interfere when someone has it back. But finally in that fight, which went back and forth, and like Rogan said, was a lot of stalemating, Bruno got a standing back position on Reese and got the I guess you call it standing rear naked choke, but finally Reese dropped down and finished him. Well, no, I mean Reese dropped down and Bruno finished him. And let's see, one small note here. I picked Eddie Sanchez, but Justin McCooley defeated him by decision. And there you go, Cosby Kid 99. He nailed that one. I did not think Justin could do that, but because Eddie Sanchez to me is like a legitimate heavyweight, and I always thought Justin McCooley is, it's just kind of a bigger. He's just like a 205er. He just needs to cut weight and make 205. But he proved that he could hang there. I mean, that was pretty good. That was impressive. So yeah, and Luigi won too, and Tim Credor won. So good night of fights. Decent for what it was. Not a lot of name talent, but it performed well, and it showed a lot of good KOs and a lot of good submissions and everything, and it was a nice night, at least from what I saw, because I missed the first two matches. But yeah, I missed Jim Miller defeating Matt Wyman and Tim Credor defeating Nate Lugram. But anyway, good night. Proud of the UFC for the way they handled everything. Oh, and I went 7-2, which ain't bad. I could gone worse. So, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.